Morning, everyone. This is Dennis Doyle. Thanks, everybody, for joining. If anybody has any technological difficulties, let us know. We'll try to do this as efficiently as possible. Welcome to the April meeting of the Ulster County Transportation Council's Policy Committee. My name is Dennis Doyle. I'm going to go around and do roll call. From Ulster County, anybody representing County Executive Ryan? Mark Ryder, Ed Pine. Okay. City of Kingston, Mayor.
Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen. Town of Saugerties, Fred.
Leanne.
I know Fred's here. I heard him on the phone. Representing the town of.
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks, Fred. Representing the town of Ulster. Gotcha, Fred. Representing the town of Ulster, John Morrow. Eric Kitchen. Representing the commissioner, DOT.
I think DOT team is on, Dennis.
Thank you so much. Representing the Seaway Authority.
Hi, Lizzie Phillips.
Hi, Lizzie. How are you?
Good.
Well, representing the Village of Saugerties. Anybody representing the Village of Saugerties? Town of Rosendale, Jeannie.
Yep, I'm here.
I heard you, Jeannie. Thank you. Representative from the town of Floyd.
Herb.
Steven? Okay, thanks, Herb. Wow. Town of Plattekill.
Here. Tom Wilkin.
Got Village of Ellenville. Anybody from the mayor? Town of New Paltz.
Yes, we're Neil Battez.
Thank you, Neil. Town of Woodstock. Anybody from the town of Woodstock? Who just joined?
Good morning.
I need a name, please.
Ed Pine.
Oh, Ed Pine. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, Ed. The town of Rochester. Rich Parody, Mike Bodden, anybody? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do have a quorum. Okay. So thank you, everybody. We'll try to get.
Can we do introductions of everyone else?
Yep. I'm going to do that. Yep. So, and if anybody else that I didn't call, if you could introduce yourself, we'd appreciate it.
Leanne Thornton, Saugerties.
Thank you.
Andrew Emmerich, Ulster County.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else?
Glenn Gadali, Barton and Lachutis.
I saw Glenn's on there. Anyone else? Great. Okay. So it's we'll call for citizens' comments, Brian. So any citizens' comments? Anybody on? Hearing none. Approval of the February 25th, 2020 Policy Committee meeting summary. Do I have a motion?
Mike Baden.
Thanks, Mike. You want to make a motion of approving the minutes?
Sure.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Second.
I'm going to take Jeannie Walsh. I'm going to take Jeannie. Okay, Jeannie on the second. I have a motion and a second. Does anybody oppose before I just ask for ayes? Is there anyone opposed? Any abstention? All right, so carried. If you folks don't mind, I'm going to try to do that this way rather than ask for ayes, since it's a consensus-driven agenda. Communications and announcements, Brian?
I have no communications and announcements at this time.
Any communications or announcements from the council members? Hearing none, new business. A, Ulster County Transportation Council Resolution number 2020-03. It's a distribution of the federal fiscal year 2019 Federal Transit Administration, Section 5307, 5340, urbanized area apportionments attributable to the Kingston urbanized area. Do I have a motion for discussion purposes?
So moved. Tom Wilkin.
Wilkin.
Mike Baden, second.
Ed Pine again. I had trouble here.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed.
So second was Mr. Baden, right? Supervisor Baden?
Yes.
Do I have a motion and discussion? Brian, you want to explain this?
Sure. These are the federal fiscal year 19 funds from the FTA attributable to the Kingston small urbanized area. There is only one publicly owned operator operating within that area, and that is Ulster County Area Transit. The available funding is $1,017,213, and all of those funds are attributable to Ulster County and the public operator UCAT.
Any questions? Any discussion?
Quick question on that, Brian. Does that money is earmarked specifically for? It's not just going into the county general fund, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it already is. Portions of it are already on our tip. There's an estimated portion on the tip. We estimated those as we adopted the new tip. So there's an estimated portion already on the tip. And the reason that there's only one one carrier is that the county actually took over the city system. So we used to split this between the city system and the Ulster County system. Now it's just the county system. Any other questions? Comments?
I have a question, Dennis. Dennis,
Sure,
I have
Jean.
a question.
Yep.
Leanne, part of this funding, could this be used to replace buses and look at purchasing electric buses or combination electric gas buses?
The short answer is yes. There's a portion of this funding is available for capital, and the county is already embarked. The UCAT system is already embarked on electrification work. We have ordered, I believe, 3 electric buses. They are ordered right now. They were purchased using what they call the Volkswagen Fund, and the county has a goal of replacing its buses, moving to an electrified fleet within the next 12 years as buses as they age out.
All right,
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks so much.
Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, any nays? Hearing none, any abstentions? So carried. Thank you. Resolution number B, item B, Ulster County Transportation Council Resolution number 2020-04. Distribution of the federal fiscal year 2020 Federal Transit Administration Section 5307, 5340 urbanized area apportionments attributable to the city of Kingston. Emphasis here is on this is the 2020 distribution. The distribution we did before was the 2019 distribution. Do I have a motion?
Tom Wilkin, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkin. Do I have a second? Please identify yourself. No seconds.
Ed Pine, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Fine. We're still worried here. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? It's similar to the next fiscal year pot of money. The total number is $1,039,654. $1 million. I'm sorry, $1 million.
Dennis, could I just ask if people aren't talking, if they could mute their phones? I think that some people are having difficulties hearing. That would be much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Hearing no discussion? Any nays? Any abstentions? It's carried. Thank you. UCTC Resolution 2020-0. We're on item C. UCTC Resolution number 2020-05. It's an amendment to the Ulster County Transportation Fiscal Year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, to modify the cost of New York State Department of Transportation PIN number 881451 as shown in attachment 1. I have a motion for discussion purposes.
Tom Wilkins, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Dennis, Mike Baden, second. I'm back. I lost the call for some reason.
Thank you, Mr. Baden. Do I have a motion and a second? Brian?
Yes, this is considered to be a major amendment to the UCTC TIP. The reason being is the amounts of increase to project costs is above the $500,000 threshold by phase. The request was submitted to us by the New York State Department of Transportation for what is essentially a multi-county culvert replacement project PIN, and so these are projects that will be occurring throughout the region, and each MPO in the affected area will be requested to make these changes to their respective transportation improvement programs. We did submit this resolution for a 15-day public notice and comment period, advertised in local papers and distributed through our distribution list. We received no comments.
Brian, this is Maria Chow from Federal Highway.
Hi,
How
Maria.
are you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, when you guys submit this, and have it approved, can you also send me a demonstration of fiscal constraint on your TIP, please?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that question,
Fiscal
Maria?
constraint demonstration. Thanks, Maria. I think we can do that.
That would be great. Yeah, I was just asking for a demonstration of the TIP fiscal constraint from this, from this amendment.
Sure. And typically what we do is, while it may not be clearly documented in the resolution itself, Maria, we always ask the sponsor to provide us with that documentation in our files. So I'll follow up with you to discuss what sort of documentation you would prefer to see. But we have that.
The description on the amendment usually says where the money's coming from.
Right.
Yeah, it's a multi-county PIN from Mid-Hudson South, 881375. We do have details regarding that, but because it's a multi-county PIN, we can't necessarily make that change ourselves, so it's made on the DOT side. So I don't have a from to for that, but that's where the funds are coming from.
So Maria, from that, you'd understand what we're doing. It's a subset of a multi-county PIN, so it's just pulling money out of the multi-county PIN.
Dennis.
Okay.
We'll send you that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Herb Litt.
I thought someone. Thank you.
Is this coming out of the $50 million culvert program from the governor, or is this in addition to?
Let's defer that question to Sandra.
Yeah, I can answer that. No, it's not coming from that. It's just part of our core program at New York State Department of Transportation, and we're just adjusting the cost based on where the needs are.
Yeah, and it's federal money, not state money, right?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Does that answer your question, Herb?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. Any nays? Any abstentions? Thank you. Item D. Ulster County Transportation Resolution number 2020-06. It's an amendment to the Ulster County Transportation Council Federal Fiscal Year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, to modify the cost of New York State PIN number 872070 as shown in attachment 1. Can I have a motion for discussion purposes?
Tom Wilkins, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Do I have a second?
Mike Baden, second.
Thank you, Mr. Baden. I have a motion and a second. Brian?
Yes, this is an amendment to the Transportation Improvement Program, again, considered to be a major amendment because it's a new project additions. Adding or removing a project to the TIP requires a resolution and public notice. It's somewhat similar to the previous TIP amendment in that it is this is coming from the New York State Thruway Authority, and it's for pavement striping across multiple counties on I-87 and I-90. And each affected MPO in the affected area will, again, have to amend their transportation improvement programs similarly. We did issue this amendment, a public notice, and 15-day public comment period. We received 0 comments.
And David, do we have the necessary backup to this for Maria?
This one's yeah, we do. It's from a main office pin, so I have even less access to that one, but I do reference the pin that's coming out of the TSWE20 here.
And this is little bits and pieces for each county it goes through or each MPO region it goes through, am I correct?
Yes. And I believe that they wanted the resolution passed in every single MPO that was impacted.
Okay.
And there are some counties that are rural, not within an MPO, that are listed.
And for those folks that didn't understand the references to 87 and 90, that's the New York State Thruway. Any comments? Any discussion? Hearing none. Any nays? Any abstentions? So carried. Great. We're on item number 6. It's other old business. CARES Act transit funding. So the CARES Act, for those folks that don't understand, the CARES Act not only provided funding for payroll protection and small business loans, it also provided a significant amount of funding to help transit systems survive. We should be aware that a lot of the transit systems in the county and in the region have shut down or are operating at significant loss because of lack of passengers. In Ulster County, what this has meant is that the Ulster County area transit system is running on a reduced schedule. It's sort of almost like a lifeline schedule, I would call it. And Trailways is no longer operating. Adirondack Trailways, which serves the western part of the county and into the middle of the state and up north, closed down. And then when the emergency order hit to close all businesses except essential services, they actually closed. Trailways is not running service out of Kingston into New York City at all. So they have quite a few people idled at this particular point in time. The distribution of the CARES Act money was based on the 5307, 5340, and a few other numbers in there with respect to what you got the last time around. So within the Ulster County UZA number 89, which is the 3-county UZA that covers Dutchess, Ulster, Orange, and portions of New Jersey, there was approximately $82 million assigned to that region, out of which about $19 million was essentially what they call fixed guideway funding, which is the only entity that's eligible for fixed guideway funding in the region is MTA. The other approximately $63 million is eligible between the public carriers and the private carriers or the commuter carriers. In the case of, and MTA as well, since they are also a commuter carrier. The 3 MPOs are in the process of looking about how those monies are divided up. We have had multiple conversations with the state agencies with respect to where the funding should go and how it should go. They're looking at essentially a similar division to what occurred with respect to the 5340 and 5307 funding that has occurred in the past. Typically, in those instances, there was about $20 million that came in on an annual basis. It was almost evenly split between the federal side, between the public carriers, which is Orange County, Ulster County, and Dutchess County, and then from there it goes into UCAT and it goes into multiple carriers in Orange County and it goes into the Dutchess Loop system. And then on the private side, it goes into Coach USA. There's a Gallagher MTA and in Dutchess County, and then in Orange County there's Coach, and then in Ulster County it's Trailways. and they're listed as commuter carriers. That typical split in the past was about $10 million apiece. And so we're looking at how that split works and how it works back to the private carriers versus the public carriers right now. And we're going back and forth as a group of MPOs and with state officials in terms of how that money would be used. It can be used, 100% of the money can be used for operating costs. So that's completely new. Typically, the funding for operating costs was limited to a portion of the funds that were available, and typically the reimbursement for operating costs was no more than 50%. Now there's no limit on operating costs, and there's no and the money is 100% federal funding. So what this funding is attempting to do is, as the transit lines come online and looking at where they are right now, it's attempting to basically look at payroll protection for those folks and operating costs as they come online and gradually move up to their old work that they're going to do, their old revenues that they're going to do in the past. Plus, they've lost about probably around 2 to 3 months of revenue as well. That's what we're hoping to do here. We're still going back and forth with the state in terms of what that distribution looks like. The MPOs had asked some questions of the state distribution. Quite frankly, the state distribution that came out was about 60-40, about $34 million to the private carriers and only about $24 million to the public carriers. So we've asked some questions about that. And we're going back and forth with the state and are waiting answers. A couple of things that you should know is that these funds can be programmed without being added to the TIP, and they can be programmed without council action. So just be aware of the fact that FTA is pushing us to essentially program these funds as quickly as possible, and we're pushing the state for answers to some of the questions that we've asked, and the state has been extremely cooperative so far, but we're still waiting to essentially get some answers with respect to this. And then there is a question in terms of how the money moves out, particularly in terms of how it's audited. So if I could use that, basically, someone's going to have to certify how the money was spent, particularly at the private carrier level. So those are the discussions that are ongoing. There is a substantial amount of money here, but quite frankly, there is an enormous amount of need with respect to these carriers. That's where we are. We will keep you informed when we get the final distributions out in an agreement and start that programming of funds. Any questions?
Hi, Dennis. This is Neil from the town of New Paltz. I'm interested in the loop bus funding. In particular, if I understand, and I sent you an email on this, but if I understand the way the formula works, is it's the town that is losing out with their lost revenue because of decrease in ridership, because that gets subtracted from our contribution. And I'm just wondering if some of that money can be given to the town of New Paltz to offset our losses.
I don't know of any manner in which that's possible. I think the manner in which it's possible could be a discussion relative to the funding that you provide versus the funding that's available for the shuttle service in New Paltz. So since there wasn't any service during a particular point in time, do we ask you to provide that funding because you only pay for operating costs and no capital costs? And if there's no operating costs in New Paltz because the shuttle didn't run, then my sense would be is that's a discussion you could have with UCAT.
Great,
does
thanks.
that answer
I just
your
wanted to.
question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Yep. Any other discussions or comments?
On old business, I had relayed to you some concerns of my constituents about a section of Route 299 from Lily Lake Road to North Shotaki Lake Road. Has any studies or contact with the DOT or anything taken place?
No, and I'm not aware of anything, Herb, and my apologies for that. I think where we are on that is that we're could take a look at the accident data. We do have, I can tell you, we do have a consultant working on accident data relative to the entire county, and we're looking at areas where there's high accident rates versus volumes. We could ask them to look at that, to just pull that area out and look at it for us to see. I remember that, and I apologize for not getting back to you. Could you give us, say, another 3 months or so to take a look at that, and then we'll try to get back to where we are. And the other thing is if anyone from NISDOT wants to chime in here, I'd appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Dennis. It's Lance. Herb, you know, we can, if you send in a letter of correspondence to Ed, our traffic engineer, and/or Dave Corrigan, we'll get looking at that and see what opportunities exist maybe for improvements. I can't promise you anything, but we'll certainly give it a look. Just start the ball rolling with some correspondence.
Okay, yeah, I sent an email into the UCTC. I don't know, Dennis, can you forward that to him?
I will be happy.
Only because I've been made aware that recently there was a couple more near misses.
Yeah, I would suggest hard correspondence either from Ulster County Chamber or Ulster County itself or from the town in which it exists, just so we can start the tracking mechanism. We're all getting a million emails these days, and I wouldn't want it to get lost.
Fred, I can draft a letter.
Sir.
I mean, Fred, I'm sorry. I can draft a letter for you.
Okay, appreciate it.
We can do that. And then you can send it in as the legislature from the area. Okay. Anything more on transit funding? Brian, project updates?
Yeah, just briefly, I wanted to run through the ongoing UCTC planning projects. Fortunately for us, nearly all of our projects have not been significantly affected by the quarantine. We've been able to pivot to remote meetings and keep everything moving relatively on schedule since the shutdown. Just to run through very quickly some of the ongoing active planning projects. The Ellenville wayfinding study is on schedule and on track. We received correspondence from our consultants yesterday, and we'll be meeting with the technical advisory committee to present final draft sign designs and programming information for the Ellenville-Wawarsing area, and that project will continue to move forward. The Wallkill Valley Rail Trail Opportunity Plan, this is a corridor study of the rail trail within the village of New Paltz, essentially. And that project is reaching the final stages as well. We're engaged with landscape architects Weintraub Diaz, and they will be presenting their draft vision and concept to the Technical Advisory Committee on Friday through a webinar. During that meeting, we'll review some of their concepts for the corridor, improvements to that rail trail, and also discuss how we now will involve the public, particularly considering the difficulties with public meetings during the coronavirus. We'll discuss some of our options and preferences moving forward to get the public's input on those draft designs. The Kingston Signal Project, which was an evaluation of signal warrants within the city of Kingston, has been successfully completed and closed. All of those project materials have been delivered by Creighton Manning. We were very pleased with the results of that project. I don't believe I've put the final materials on the website yet, but I'll get those up very shortly. Just a brief recap, we did a full signal warrant analysis for 11 traffic signals in the city of Kingston that were aging and suspected of being unnecessary. And Creighton Manning's analysis was very detailed and found that of those 11 signals, none of them met a single one of the MUTCD warrants for a traffic signal, which was really quite astounding. So we've delivered those recommendations to the City of Kingston, and Department of Public Works and the Engineering Department will be consulting with the Kingston Common Council in the months ahead to determine how to move forward, but I suspect some of those signals will be able to be removed successfully following the protocol that we recommend within that final report. We've also been working with our intern, Gregory Jewell from New Paltz, remotely during this time to continue some of our ADA sidewalk assessments throughout Ulster County. Gregory has digitized most, if not all, of the sidewalk areas within our villages and the city of Kingston in Ulster County. So that information has been digitized. I think there's a few gaps here and there that we're addressing.
Authorities now, right?
And the next step is to, after those sidewalks have been digitized, to send a staff person out into the field to then do the assessment as to whether those segments of sidewalk actually meet ADA compliance. We use a 1 through 5 rating and ranking system. So to date, we've completed the City of Kingston 100% digitization and ADA assessment. We've also completed Village of New Paltz with the assessment. We've completed Rosendale with the digitization and assessment as well. We're now transitioning into the Village of Saugerties and the Village of Ellenville, and in both of those instances, there are still some GIS issues that we're ironing out, but with some luck, we might be able to finish those as well within the next several weeks. And Chris White, our Deputy Director of Planning, has been assisting us with that field work. So the next step will be data dissemination. If you're itching to get your hands on that information, please reach out to us. We can provide it to you. Otherwise, we're going to try to set up something akin to a dashboard where municipalities can just go online and download the information, access it themselves. So anyone from the public would be able to do that. So we're working through some of the logistics regarding information dissemination, but that project is largely complete and has been successfully completed. The last project that I want to mention is the Long-Range Transportation Plan update. David and I have been working in the background on reviewing the existing document that was completed in 2015 and updating facts and figures and revising the document. I would like to present an overview of that work and what the document will look like at next month's technical committee meeting. That will be a general overview for the technical committee to essentially refamiliarize yourself with that document and talk to you about what our plan is going forward in terms of public outreach. Unfortunately, we did get hung up. We had not completed contract execution with our two identified consultants for this project. We are going to procure assistance for a graphic designer to essentially prepare the document with full illustrations and making it ADA compatible for an online document. And also we're going to contract with a Ulster County planner to assist us with public outreach. So those contracts are currently in development and awaiting execution. They're a little gummed up given the slowdown, but we expect them to be fully executed. They are relatively small contracts in terms of cost, $20,000 and $10,000 to $15,000 respectively, using our planning funds. So there's a slight delay there that may affect our final end date and deliverable, but we plan on otherwise moving forward with that project, and we'll be happy to provide a detailed update during our next meeting. David, do you have anything you want to add for projects?
I would say that the Ulster County Road Safety Plan has been moving forward. We just had our TAC meeting, kind of completing out the first deliverable, which was just an assessment of facts and figures related to the crashes that we've seen over the past 10 years in the county, and kind of diving into the crash types and contributing factors that we've seen. The next step is going to be doing a network screening to really kind of identify some of the criteria that seem to be associated with crashes that we're seeing. And this is a county-wide effort, so all roadways and in all municipalities. And I think the first product was well received by the TAC, and we'll look to distribute that out on the county website once we make a few revisions to it.
Traffic counts, David?
We're going to be delaying the spring counts. Probably won't be doing any spring counts just due to the changes that we're experiencing here. And we would anticipate doing counts in the fall.
Okay. And then we have a trail study that was programmed, and we have those are due back this week on Friday. It is a study of the ability to essentially convert the portion of the UND corridor to trail up in the Bel Air area. That was designated by the legislature for trail purposes. That study is due back. That RFP is due back at the end of the week. We also have an RFP that came back, and the committee has met relative to a bus storage facility. With the acquisition of the City of Kingston bus systems, we're going to need some additional storage for our buses. That work has been gone through. The RFPs are back. The selection committee has chosen a consultant. We just haven't essentially moved that consultant to an award letter, and we're waiting to do that, and that probably should go out either by the end of this week or early next week. So until that award letter goes out, I really don't want to say who the consultant is, but we're in the process of issuing an award letter for that work and get that underway.
One other project that slipped my mind is a project that is being led by the Ulster County Department of the Environment. They received a grant through the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority to look at bus electrification feasibility throughout Ulster County and the Ulster County Public Carrier. So we will be participating directly in that project, and we did provide matching funds as well on our UPWP. And that kickoff meeting is scheduled for Thursday. So we'll be going over quite a few details in that project, what routes might be feasible for electrification, and what type of technologies are available and might be most compatible to the Ulster County routes.
Anything else? I do want to make an announcement that the traffic circle in the City of Kingston, or the modern roundabout in the City of Kingston, is well under construction now. And is moving forward, and we're getting updates on a regular basis from the project team, the NISDOT project team that's handling that project.
Broadway as well.
And Broadway's in the process of starting, I think, right there.
Oh yeah, they're well underway.
Yep. And then and that's a City of Kingston project. And then the only other thing I was going to ask is there any updates that we could give us on the Wirt Street Bridge from NISDOT?
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. That was on my list. Right now, we're looking at a best value designation for the Wirt Street Bridge project, hopefully in May. If you've been following the project, we added a project labor agreement to this, so we deferred the letting out a little further so the bidders and contractors could look at what that PLA might mean to their process. So fingers crossed we'll get some decent bids and we can get this thing moving forward in the month of May with the designation.
Okay. You said you had a list, Lance. Is there anything else you'd like to speak about?
Well, just as you mentioned, 587 is moving, which is great. Tim Nelson is our EIC if there's any local concerns or issues with that. 9W paving is moving forward in Marlborough. I know the supervisor down there is happy to see some action. The big asterisk, as with all of our lives right now, is COVID-19 impacts. As much as I can share with you our schedule and projections of what we'd like to accomplish, please understand that there are day-to-day impacts based on the virus and operational necessities that can affect all of these moving forward. Thankfully, those two projects are actually in construction. This summer, we do hope to pave Route 32 in the town of Plattekill, as well as 4455 in the Lloyd Gardner area. 32 will start hopefully in July. Remember the asterisks I referenced. 4455 would be hopefully in August. The other project of significance in the county is 28 over the Esopus. Right now, that's caught up with a little COVID-19 issue because we are dealing with a real property issue and an eviction where the court systems have kind of been on lockdown for a little bit of time. So it's causing us delays in conjunction with an environmental issue that is popped up. So that project is a little touch and go right now until we get some of these barriers mitigated.
Okay.
And that's about it.
I know one of the questions.
I have a question. This is Tom Wilkin from Plattekill. On Route 32 in Plattekill, do you know what section of Plattekill, or is it the whole part of Plattekill?
Basically right now, Tom, we're looking to go from the Orange County line all the way up to 4455 in the town of Plattekill. But for specific logistical questions, I would ask you to call Dave Corrigan, our resident engineer up in Kingston. He can give you the exact specifics.
Okay.
The question I know that is on the mind from a lot of the counties is what about the CHIPS funding? Is any or the Bridge New York funding? Is there any thought what's going to happen with that? I think we're really particularly concerned about CHIPS.
I don't have any insight on that right now. Sandra, do you have anything or any knowledge of what that may mean to the counties?
No, we don't. But as soon as we hear something, we'll pass it along.
Much appreciated.
I think a lot of us watch the governor's conference calls every day, and the financial impacts of the virus are quite dire. A lot of our flexibility may hinge on federal supplement of funds. So if that were to come to fruition, it may change the equations for a lot of these programs.
Yeah, and we're asking the same question on the transit side for STOA, just so everybody understands. State operating assistance.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Lance?
That's all I have.
Anything else from the council members?
Yes, this is Jean Walsh. I have a question for you. I don't know what the status is with COVID on the 213 near Binneywater project, but yesterday I had a meeting with the superintendent for the sewer district, and we had an I&I done, and the damage that was done to the road is also causing some serious degradation in the sewer line there. And I'm wondering if there's a time frame right now for that project, and if any of the funding, because the road had been in such disrepair for so long, has caused some problems to the sewer line. Is there anything that I should be doing besides looking for funding outside of the Transportation Council, if there is any that would assist in that repair, since it is tied in with that road collapsing?
So I would say for day-to-day issues, please let Mr. Corrigan know what it is you're seeing there so that he can keep our design and construction teams in the loop. I believe, and I'd have to check off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me, the projects we have there, there's a couple of ideas or concepts, and I'm not sure exactly which specifics you're talking about. There's, I believe, a sidewalk project that'll mitigate a few of the issues. Then there's bigger geotechnical issues with that whole corridor community that I think need to be further evaluated. So what I would suggest is that you keep Dave in the loop with your day-to-day stuff, and we can work on it.
We got a letter saying the project was going to start soon.
That's probably the sidewalk project then, yes. So without a PIN number and a little homework. It's not the road, it's just the sidewalk? Again,
or we were told that the sidewalk and the road was going to be worked on.
It's probably a combination, but as you know, there's a huge geological issue with the whole hillside there.
I am aware, yeah.
Right. So if you'd like, offline, shoot me a question or comment, and I'll get back to you about the specifics of the project you're talking about, versus the whole impacts to the geotechnical area there.
Your email?
Sure. It's Lance, Lance, .Macmillan, MacMillan.
I'm sorry, there was interference. MAC?
I'm going to give you a phone number. You can just call me offline.
Okay.
845-431-5750.
Thank you.
Lance, if you could let us know as well, if you could CC us on any of that correspondence, and we'll follow up with Dave as well. Anything else?
This is Kristen from the city of Kingston. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine, Kristen. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that the Hudson River Brickyard Trail which is the trail that it's part of the Empire State Trail that crosses the scenic Hudson property in the city of Kingston and town of Ulster. Went out, it was advertised for bid, I believe yesterday or today. So if you know contractors who are looking for work, there's a new bid out there.
And then the state on 32, you want to mention that too, Kristen?
Sidewalk on 32. Actually, that would probably be an update from DOT. I understand it was it's gotten underway.
Yep.
I don't know what the current state is of it because I haven't been out very much.
Can you update us on that sidewalk on Route 32?
Not presently, but if you send me a note or something, I can look into it.
Okay. Yeah. It's under construction, just where it's a sidewalk that effectively runs from the end of the sidewalk in the city of Kingston out to the Gateway Industries along Route 32, and it ties in to the Ulster County sidewalk on Golden Hill. As a matter of fact, the legislature will be considering a resolution to accept the appropriation of the lands associated with the temporary construction easement for that in front of our lands in Golden Hill.
Yeah, actually,
anything else?
We have a roadwork update for the city of Kingston. If you go to the homepage of the city of Kingston, you can find the roadwork update, and there it says that for this week, excavation of side slopes will continue and be completed this week on Route 32, and then retaining walls will begin next week on Route 32. So our director of communications is getting updates directly from DOT on that.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Anything else?
Dennis, Dennis, this is Glenn. I just wanted to ask on the Friday presentation that was mentioned earlier on the Walker Valley Rail Trail, is that an internal presentation or can people hook into that somehow?
No, that's an internal technical advisory committee meeting, Glenn.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, I want to remind everybody that we have a technical committee meeting on the 26th of May. It's coming up. We'll send you a calendar update for that and an agenda very soon. And everybody stay safe, stay well, and thank you very much for today. Say goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care, stay safe and healthy, and good job with the video conference here.
Thank you. You as well, Herb.
Thank you.